DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello everybody and welcome to this week's AMA with DeFi Kingdoms. Lovely as always to be here. We are going to find out how Hubert is doing today. So Hubert, how are you doing?
I think before that, there's about, you guys got to go and vote on it because there's 2 minutes left. All right, I said it.
Thank you.
Yeah, the tournaments. Yeah, as far as me, I am doing pretty well. How about you, Bolan?
I'm doing pretty well. Winston, how are you doing and what's happening in 1 minute and 45 seconds?
Yeah, hey, Bolon, in 1 minute and 45 seconds, people won't be able to vote anymore. And there's actually 3. We ended up getting seven takers for this one. So 3, and then there'll be 2 over here, and then the final. And so some of them are pretty good. The final's 300. Final 4 is going to be 100. And the what is it? The edible 8. I don't know, man. Exciting 8. There it is, dude. That's why they pay me the big bucks. The exciting 8, 25, and you got about 1 minute to do that. So yeah, get in there and do it. I'm good. Thanks, Bolon. Back to you.
Thank you. If we have any viewers over in Arena at the moment, I don't know what is happening over there. It is going crazy. So hopefully you can see and hear us. I don't know what's happening. It'll only give me a little window of nothing. So I don't know. But in the meantime, we are going to keep on rolling on here on YouTube. I did want to note, Dreamer is in the audience, but he is visiting some family, so he's not joining us up on stage today. But you may see him, commenting over in chat or what have you. And yeah, it wasn't my microphone that was messed up. It was because of the Arena stream that I can't mute because it won't work. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, so yeah, you may see Dreamer commenting in chat. He's just with his family, so can't hop up on stage with us today. But before we roll into questions, Hubert, the question on everybody's mind: pet combat bonuses, durability, everything that goes with it. Can you give us an update on how all of that is going?
Yeah, so it's going pretty well. We have, I think, pretty much everything on the front end is done. Everything on the contract side. For pet combat bonuses, we just went through kind of a round of balancing and have updated things on the contract side to have new ranges for the bonuses. There was one that got removed, a few others that got adjusted, yeah, I think we're getting pretty close. So we're kind of getting into finalization mode where we're looking for last changes before we feel like it's ready to go, and just testing for bugs and all that stuff. So it's getting pretty close, and I guess that applies to really all of it. Pet bonuses, durability, and enchanting, kind of all together. They're all kind of coming together as one, it seems like. So it's pretty exciting.
Are we back to 69 total possible bonuses?
I think it's still in the 70s. I just barely posted something about that somewhere in our stuff. Let me go see the numbers. 77 bonuses.
Well,
so
there's 8 more. You gotta find 8 more to drop.
Yes, I guess so. Just cut them right and left.
There was a question in chat. Will you share what got removed?
Sure. It was a bonus that gave you a percentage chance to push on hit, which now that doesn't exist anymore.
Goodbye pushing. Very nice. Thank you for the update. We will, of course, keep everybody informed as we keep getting closer to those updates being released. But it is super exciting. Several new pieces of functionality all coming out at once. With that, though, we will roll into some questions, and as is just the right thing to do, we're going to start off with Hubert. Hubert, there's a relatively lengthy question which we have seen and passed on, but I'm going to kind of summarize here. But it's a quality of life suggestion for re-rolling heroes to have like how their last level up went in the hero hub, and being able to select multiple heroes a little bit faster. Any thoughts on the quality of life suggestions on that front?
Yeah, so I mean, we do always want to make things more convenient, and if it is tricky to deal with like multiple level rerolls due to like something missing in the UI, like if we can adjust that, we'd like to. So we can probably add this to Zip's list. I just don't know like how soon it would get prioritized, but we might be able to make some adjustments here and there.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Is there a possibility that we would release the currently unreleased classes, as in the ones that do not exist at all, outside of expanding into new realms, or would it only be in the case of a new realm?
I mean, we always have the option of that. Like, for example, with the Serendale 2.0 launch, we did do new classes then, which technically it was not a new realm. It was a new chain, but not a new realm. So, I mean, the option's there. I don't know that, we're not really looking at releasing those classes right now. But like if the right opportunity came up, we might consider it. I guess, keep in mind, if we did release them, they wouldn't necessarily be like combat ready, especially if it was like right now where we're still kind of working through implementing all the classes. So in the ideal world, we'd have all the other classes implemented so that, we could potentially release new classes with them being combat ready to start. But it really kind of all depends on timing and the situation. But at the moment, we're not really focused on new classes, like brand new classes.
Very nice. Speaking of those brand new classes, have any of them been decided? And if so, are there any hints?
Sorry, say that again.
Have any of those classes been decided, like what they will be? And if so, are there any hints?
I would say there are some ideas that will probably very likely happen, and others that might get swapped to something else. But yeah, I don't know that I want to say anything specific because we really haven't decided what's going to be next, and what those things are going to look like. So, but they're probably ones that very likely are going to happen, though.
Anything that you'll share on what the next class going into the combat engine would be? Switching gears a little bit.
It's a basic class.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. So this next question, I'm going to answer. I talked to Dreamer about it so that I could give an update. Can we give an update on the biz dev side? Any partnerships or collabs in the hopper? So there are some things that we are exploring. We're also looking at what we could potentially do within our existing ecosystem and with our existing partners to maximize those impacts and those relationships. Also looking at external opportunities as well, of course. So there's nothing that we really could share today, but there are things that we are, of course, working on. We're always exploring opportunities. And when those opportunities get to a point that can be publicly shared, then we will, of course, do so. But until they get to a certain point, they they are covered by NDAs and whatnot. But looking to really, build on where we're strongest, in addition to looking for new opportunities. So we'll keep you guys updated on that as well. Switching back over to Hubert, any PvE on the near-term horizon?
On the near term, I'd say, we're focused on pet combat bonuses, on durability, and on what we've been calling glory and honor as well. And those are our main priorities. After that, I think PvE will become a focus again. But right now, those are what we're focusing on. So I'd say it's more midterm than near term at this point.
Nice. Thank you. When can we give pets names?
Not anytime soon.
Probably
It's
not.
a very, very low priority. And there are pretty big concerns about, at least if it was like something where people could see what you named your pets. There are definitely some concerns about
Yeah.
what people might put in there. So, if it was something where you could name your pets just for yourself reasons, that might be something that is more feasible, but still not something that we're going to be prioritizing anytime soon.
Nice. Yeah. TTP real low. Let's see. I'm going to actually take a couple of questions here. Some just as myself and some on behalf of Dreamer. So, can we get dual seasons back, and what led to us ending them? So we talked about this at length, I would say, at the time, but we sunset duels because we built duels as a mini game, and it was a really fun mini game, and it did great things for us. But we really want to lean into the focus of the core gameplay. We have PvE, we have PvP. Like that's where we want to try to drive players. And so, especially with duels, had a pretty generous reward system, which was also sometimes taken advantage of, which wasn't ideal. But even outside of that, by sunsetting duels, it freed up those rewards for us to put them in other locations. So like all of the chests that are now available through patrols and hunts and PvP, those are all essentially utilizing those duels rewards. It also let us increase the number of winners of shell raffles in Submersia, which you get shells by voting on matches, playing patrols. So it let us reallocate those resources into different locations that we wanted to be able to focus the gameplay. That said, we still have all of that code, right? Like we still have that feature. We still have everything we need for duels. So, it's not a matter of it could never come back. It's a matter of for where we are right now, it didn't necessarily make sense for us to keep running seasons, but that can always change in the future. So there may be a place for duels later down the road. But as of now, that's where we stand on it. Let's see the next one. How many people are working at the moment on the game, and are we planning to increase manpower? I'm going to say like working on the game just means our team as a whole, because that makes life way easier rather than trying to differentiate what every individual person does. So there are about 20 of us on the team that are actively working. In terms of increasing manpower, realistically, no. We've talked about this prior, but with where we're at and where the market's at and everything else, it just wouldn't make sense to try to use some of our very limited runway. Very sounds extreme. Some of our limited runway to then bring somebody in. We've talked many times before. Hey, Dreamer's working in chat now. He's been trying to get YouTube to work. It's working. Welcome, Dreamer. Anyway, we've talked before. Like our team, makes a lot of sacrifices to keep this project going. We don't. Like none of our team is being paid full-time hours currently, so it doesn't make sense to then use some of the runway that we do have to bring somebody else into essentially that situation who doesn't have years of history, years of dedication, years of passion, years of etc. Our team is small but mighty, and that's because we're willing to do what we need to do. So yeah, that's where we're at there. Let's see. Last question that I'm going to take, and then I promise I'll stop talking for about 30 seconds. But any plans for getting Jewel price / value up again? So as I'm sure you all know, we don't talk about price directly. We don't control price. We don't speculate on price publicly or anything like that. In general, our goal is to build a game and a platform that brings in users that then, has a market impact. What that does is up to the market, not up to us. But that's why we're still here. That's why we're still releasing features. That's why we're still building the game and the platform, is because we still see the long-term potential in DeFi Kingdoms, and want to get to that goal and get to that fruition. And everything that we do in terms of new features, new partnerships, new collaborations, new whatever the case may be, expanding our ecosystem, can impact Jewel price, but we also don't make decisions specifically to manipulate the price either. So we still see the long-term potential of having a really cool game, and that's our focus. Speaking of having a really cool game, I'm going to stop talking for a minute. I'm going to toss it over to you, Hubert. Have we ever considered changing the game style to look more like Final Fantasy VII or Expedition 33, for example?
No. I mean, we're making a pixel art game. I don't think we would suddenly decide to change the art direction to 3D. And especially I think if we're talking like the Final Fantasy VII remake and whatnot, like our team does not have a specialty in that. And I don't know that I've really am aware of any game ever that has like had an art direction and been developing it and then like completely changed it to something entirely different. Like that's kind of unheard of. So no.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Oh crap, it's back to me. All right, well, one more from me. Do we have any thoughts on reaching out to the Hyperliquid team to try to get Jewel on Hyperliquid? So I'm going to say a few things here. One, first off, is just we have not met with the Hyperliquid team. Is it something that we can do? Certainly. Our main focus is like maximizing within our ecosystem and or growing our ecosystem. Whereas, listing Jewel on a DEX like Hyperliquid doesn't necessarily do either of those things. It kind of just exists outside because it is its own ecosystem. And that's not necessarily a bad thing either. But it's not our main focus. It's not, our main priority or anything like that. The other side of this too, though, is first and foremost, if this is something the community wants to see, they feel that, it would be really good to have Jewel on Hyperliquid. Like, you guys don't really need us necessarily, unless they require that the dev team be involved, in which case let us know and like we will be. But outside of that, it is something that the community could do essentially without us. And beyond that, a step further, even if we are involved or even if we did drive it, it would have to have community engagement to work. Jewel is fully emitted, fully diluted, and I want to say like 95+% in community hands, in player hands. And that's, of that other 5%, like not all of that is ours. That also includes the quest funds and something else that I'm forgetting right now. But the reality is the vast majority of Jewel is in player and community hands. So for a listing on something like Hyperliquid where you need the liquidity to be there, like we would, you guys would have to be involved. So if that's something that the community wants to see, Again, we can look into it. We're not opposed to looking into it. We can be involved, but you also don't necessarily need us to be involved, and we would need you guys to be involved. So just some, I guess, general overarching thoughts on that front. All right. Back over to you, Hubert.
Sorry, can I butt in on you?
You can.
So I always thought it was overarching. Like when you say like the McDonald's arch, like you don't say the McDonald's arc, do you? Do you?
No, because arc and arch are two different things, but it probably overarching. I think it's I don't know.
I don't really know either. That's what I'm saying. I always
I'm
thought
a Floridian, okay? I speak Floridian.
I
you
believe
can't blame
Winston's
everything on
right.
Florida.
I can blame everything on Florida. It's where I was educated.
Honestly, I pretty much blame everything on Florida too. So
yeah, that too.
GG, swag, good job. That was a good battle. Real quick, I was just going to bring everyone up to speed. Ibla defeated Hope. I'm not going to say this stupid name. Swag defeated Winston, and then DeFi Purgatory, who is Kurt, defeated Liambu, who is Liam Meb. Man, my poor brain can't read. Who is also my friendo. And get ready to vote on these. You got 11 minutes. These ones are pretty lucrative. 100 jewel in each of those. So get in there and vote. Sorry, Hubert, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
I was just saying that you were right. At least according to Google, it's
Yeah,
overarching.
Google also does agree that it is overarching. I don't like that as much.
Your whole world is destroyed.
It is, yeah. I really just it doesn't sound as good though. Like
one of these days we're going to get enough people in the Supreme Court to change that law.
the CH really just changes the feeling, and I don't like it as much. I might just have to stop using that phrase. But also, for the record, I do blame Florida. I was educated in Florida. It's their fault. Like all of my education came from this state, and yeah, I blame them. Anyway.
Sorry about that.
No, you're not, but it's okay. These have been English lessons with Winston Jazz Hands. I'm gonna stop hosting AMAs. Actually, I think that's the real solution. Winston's just gonna be the host because every time I host, I say words wrong.
Dude, I'm changing the name when I host next time. It's not gonna be DeFi Kingdoms AMA. It's gonna be something else.
I look forward to seeing how that pans out because there is one that you will be hosting in a few weeks. So I look forward to this. When do we have Ask Me What I Want? Anyway, Hubert, jumping back over to you here for a minute. Any thoughts on adding a feature to disable animations in the combat engine to help out with hardware that might not be as performant?
Yeah, I mean, I could see the desire for an option like that. I think there are issues, however, with especially in PvP, where our shot clock is kind of designed to work with the timing of animations. So, like, if someone could turn that off, they could potentially be taking turns before, like, the shot, like, gain seconds, basically. By not having animations to watch. So I think just for that reason alone, we probably wouldn't do it. Though I wonder like how bad it actually is on less performant machines. I think we had kind of made an effort to like fix certain things that were kind of like larger load time items. Like the original animations that the first 3 classes had, for example, were fairly poorly optimized compared to what they were replaced with. So hopefully things like that helped. But yeah, if there are some kind of like major performance issues, it'd be nice to be kind of made aware of that and see some kind of videos of how that is happening and see if there's things we can do. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be offering an option to turn off animations.
Nice. Thank you, Hubert. Any thoughts on some incentives to drive hero burn more? There were some just suggestions made in here, such as like a retroactive reward for dark summoning, which I feel like wouldn't drive current hero burn, but that's okay. Incorporating it into like hunts in some way, shape, or form, just something along those lines. Any thoughts on options there, and if we are giving those any consideration?
Yeah, so I think, with the introduction of Divine Essence and Greater Divine Essence, like what I'd like to see is just us leaning into more usage of those, because as those get used, that creates more demand for heroes to be burned through Transcendence, and also just looking at other ways that we can reward those that transcend heroes, just in general. But as far as like the current population that we did see with the contest that we did and the release of Transcendence, like there was a pretty decent drop in the population, and it also like kind of stayed fairly stable up until recently. It's like had a slight uptick, but not really, it's not back to like where it was before Divine Essence came out, or like I think it'll take a little while before it gets there, if it even does. So I'd say, yeah, more in the focus of creating more ways to use those things. We will have durability coming out soon, which is going to include restoration, which uses Greater Divine Essence. So there's one thing that's going to potentially increase the demand for those resources, and then when we get future hunts out and other things, we have discussed things like having permanent death be something that could happen to heroes, and potentially using like Divine Essence to save them from that fate. Things like that could also be a source of that. And maybe we could also introduce new tournament modes that just include permanent death and things like that, where heroes just are gone in that regard if they join those tournaments. But like there are things we can do. I don't think I want to like focus on creating more contests or things like that just kind of are like one-off efforts that require our focus. Just at least in the time being, I'd like us to stay kind of focused on what we're working on.
Nice. Yeah, I think that that makes a lot of sense. What about using Greater Divine Essence to rename your pet?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I agree. I think there's some cool stuff we can do on that front as we get into those things. I'm going to toss this one over to you as well to kick off. What are the team's thoughts on the possibility of in-game ads as a revenue stream? So, for example, watching ads could grant players additional PvE attempts in hunts or patrols, obviously still with a cap. Ad revenue could be distributed in a way similar to existing in-game fees, so not only help with dev funding, but also add a new way to support the economy as well.
I mean, it's always possible for us to do something like that. We could add in ads, and if we it does kind of adding ads into a game always kind of, in my mind, it's not the most ideal thing to do, but it is potentially a source of revenue, so something that we should consider. But giving watch an ad to get an extra play, something like that, going that far kind of makes me kind of queasy, honestly. But this is just me answering. I'm not really a big fan of that type of thing. But we could. It may turn out to be like something that could be quite profitable if we did something along those lines. So we're open to exploring it, I would say. But just as a personal opinion on it, I'm not the biggest fan, just personally, of ads in games. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody loves ads in games, but it's also, and I don't think we're approaching this in any way at all, but it's like, if it's, it comes to a point where it's like no ads, no game, we've we've already done a ton of stuff for this game, so I think we're going to definitely consider that as an option, right? You know, if it's like some ads game versus no ads, no game, then I think that may be on the table, but also we're not even close to that. So get ready for weird ads in languages you don't know how to read.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Dreamer made a point not in chat, but he might make it in chat, but I'm going to give him credit for it regardless. But you know, it's in some ways it's similar to the idea behind sponsorships in the first place, behind hosted tournaments in the first place. It's just a little bit less in your face than like a normal game ad video. So you know, there's different forms of that, right? So if somebody's sponsoring a hunt, you know, Team Goose is sponsoring a hunt right now with Honk Rewards. You know, that is kind of a different form of advertising, right? I will say the flip side of that is for like hunt sponsorships, we actually don't take anything. That all goes to the community. For hosted tournaments, it's split. But all of that aside, you know, yeah, I think to everybody's point, like this is something obviously that would need to be a larger discussion amongst us, but none of us want the game to feel, I'm just gonna say, spammy and cheap. Like, you know, so if we were to do something like ads, we would want to make sure that we did it in a way that made sense, in a way that wasn't like taking away from the game experience, in a way that wasn't unpleasant. What does that actually look like? I don't think we know yet, right? So that's where we would have to, you know, try to give that some brainstorming in the first place as well. Because what we don't want is, oh, you move to the marketplace, here's your 30-second ad. Oh, you move to the tavern, here's your 30-second ad. So, you know, it's definitely a fine line to walk when we talk about something like in-game ads.
Yeah, I mean that's not even a game, right? That's like a
It's an ad.
You're not playing a game, you're playing ads, and that's absolutely not what we're trying to do. Super quickly, I think we could probably move on from this one, but 50 seconds left to vote on. What's that?
Oh, I was saying, go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. Super quick, 45. Thanks to Bolon, 45 seconds left to vote on this one now. And yeah, Ad Simulator, that's the next blockchain game we're gonna do. So get ready for that. It's like you get to make the ads. So now you're the ads. Terry, simmer down, sir. Got Terry in here, and he doesn't like ads either.
He did not like your idea. He hardcore rejected that idea.
Quick no. Oh my god. Very quick no. I'm gonna go see what's going on over there.
All right. Meanwhile, we now know Winston's dog's opinion on in-game ads. But with that, Hubert, kicking back to you, but for a new question. Any thoughts on selling Vizzies as a limited quantity rather than a limited time?
My mute button. I lost it for a second. So we do actually have that option. Like when we built the Vizzies shop, we did consider that as something we could do. It seemed to us that it would be maybe less effective than having there be a limited time, just because that would, with a limited time, you know, it once the time limit is up, it's gone. So I think that kind of created a little bit more pressure for people to get it if they wanted it. Whereas if there's kind of a limited quantity, but maybe it's not a very popular item, it could be there for quite a long time, and people feel like, you know, they could always just get it whenever and not feel a little bit much urgency there. So that was kind of the thought process behind it, but we do have the option to do that if we wanted to. So it could happen. The contract supports it. We just haven't ever used it.
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting, you know, one of the things that the question mentioned was like doing this way has a like fixed scarcity, which is true. But one of the cool things about the time limited method is that the scarcity is up to you guys, which, you know, is actually a really interesting piece of it where, you know, depending on how many you guys decide to mint, that's how many exist. So there's just they're just different methods. I don't know that, either of them is automatically better than the other or always better than the other. But there are also benefits to doing the time method, or not the time. Sorry. There are also benefits to doing the time method like we have been doing. But can always shake things up. With that, let's see here. That is actually our last submitted question. We made really good time this week. I've stopped caveating at the beginning that it may not take an hour, because every time I did, it then took an hour. So I just gave up on that. But we made really good time this week. So if you have questions, throw them in chat. We'll give a couple minutes, and then we'll see where we go from there. Speaking of, there's a question in chat. Hubert, would it be possible to combo time and number as whichever one triggers first?
I don't know that I understand what that is asking.
So like 1,000 of this visage or 30 days. If 30 days
Oh,
hits and 1,000 hasn't sold, it's gone. But if 1,000 sold in 2 days, it's still gone.
I think it is set up that we could have both. I believe it's been a minute since we built that, so I'd have to double check. But I think it is possible for us to do that. Where, I mean, it would just be, there can only be 1,000 of these sold, and also that it's going to go away in 45 days or something like that. So if 1,000 doesn't get sold, it's still done. I think we can do that. So yeah, but I'd have to double check, I guess, if that was something we wanted to do.
Nice. DFK Taco Bell talk. Great question. Taco Bell updates. The Y2K menu. Pretty interesting. They've brought back the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos shell. It's pretty wild times. And the what are they? Cinnamon apple empanadas? Some kind of empanada. Caramel apple. Thank you.
Or caramel if you're from Florida, probably, right?
No. But yeah, the Y2K menu, pretty exciting, pretty wild stuff. They got a double decker, so definitely making some moves. Taco Bell, we see you.
Did they bring the grilled stuffed burrito back? Because if not, I'm not going.
7-layer burrito, chili cheese burrito, and then the things Bolan mentioned.
Not going.
7-layer burrito, though, man, that one takes me back. I might need to get one of those.
I was really surprised. It's a vegetarian 7-layer burrito. I was not anticipating that.
Big question here, Bolan, and I'm not sure if you know. I'm kind of looking to try to figure it out. Wait a minute, I might have just figured it out.
Okay.
So are these going to be 2,000 prices as well? Or is it just these 2000s decade items?
Pretty sure it's the latter. I want to say they're all like on the $2 value menu or something like that, but that ain't 2,000.
Yeah, it says they're all $3 or less. But let me ask you this: have you bought anything from Taco Bell recently? Like, there are a few things on their menu that are $3 or less. So
yeah. They have an okay value menu, but I mean, let's be honest. Like, nothing's gonna beat the dollar menu. Like, and that's gone forever.
They are trying to celebrate the Crunchwrap Supreme.
I mean, because the Crunchwrap Supreme is amazing and deserves celebration. The Cheez-It one was really good when they had the Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme.
Don't tell me about that abomination, man. Stay in your lane with stuff. Cheez-Its in tacos, stop that.
I do want to acknowledge that, like, if this was a video ad, there'd be revenue generated from it. But anyway, taking a break from Taco Bell talk, Hubert, any thoughts on spending greater divine essence for time-based XP increases?
That is maybe possible, though I'm thinking about the complexity of coding that, and that makes me like but it maybe possible.
Could be
maybe I don't know, time based would maybe be harder than just like a per use base. I would say, like, if it was and maybe only for combat. For example, you could like spend some as you go into a hunt or something to make that specific hunt better on XP. That might be more feasible than having some time-based thing. There's just a lot of things that need to be tracked and whatnot, and it increases gas costs kind of significantly in certain circumstances. Like what if you apply it and then you start a hunt, but then you don't do the hunt for like a day? And does it still work? You know, things like that. Then a lot of things that we have to figure out. So that's just kind of technical talk. It's possible for us to do something like that. We can consider it.
Yeah,
I kind of expected a straight up no on that one, just like the Hubert style no.
I know, right?
How many times do I actually just straight up say no? I think I
All the
pretty
time.
often try to say why.
You never straight up say no, but you often say no. There's a question from Sir Worm, excuse me, about the training quest animation, that if they're doing a training quest, they aren't doing curls. I saw Hubert already threw in a bug ticket for that because they should be doing their curls. So we'll check that out and see what's going on there, get that fixed up. Thank you for that call out. Hubert, how feasible would it be to have serialized options? So like when we do Vizzies, for example, all of the equipment count kind of goes together, but could we have like one out of however many for a Vizzies?
I think if we change some things with how our API tracks stuff, then that could potentially work. But as it stands right now, I don't think our API is set up to kind of allow us to track something separate than just their ID, which the ID is going to be tied to, like, all accessories share the same ID counter. So this would have to be kind of a new separate thing that we'd have to set up, which probably isn't that hard to do, but not something that we have done up to now. So it would be an upgrade, and then we would need to find a place for it in the front end to display that too. So it's not too hard, I'd say, but it would be work.
Nice. I appreciate it. We have to circle back for a moment to Taco Bell talk, because Dreamer said that Baja Blast is colored Sprite, and I will take that bait, because that is blasphemy.
Wow.
That is blasphemy.
I mean, it's still better than Sprite because it's colored Sprite. At the very worst, it's still like it's still superior. Sprite doesn't even have a color.
Sprite doesn't have caffeine either.
I know that this is like kind of a riveting close match, but I took a minute to download some of the website assets for the Decades Y2K Taco Bell thing, and we're going to get these up on the DeFi Kingdoms website as soon as possible. Look at this yin yang fingernail. Is that a message? Is that a subtle message of something?
There's a white dot missing there.
Yeah,
that's a failure.
It's not
a
really
bad job.
What are they hiding there? What's going on? Anyway. All right, I'm going to get this off the screen. We're going to see who wins this fight. But just if anyone needs the assets for it, they want to put it on their personal website, let me know. I'll send it right over to you. I downloaded them. I got them right here.
When this video gets pulled from YouTube, we all know why, but it was worth it, so it's okay.
They want it pulled? I mean, it's like free advertising, but
yeah, maybe not. Maybe they're okay with it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Taco Bell marketing strategies.
Real quick, you can vote on the final. You got 20 minutes to vote on it. Get in there. I guess we'll see.
Obama stole my KFC, coming through strong.
Very, very impressive. I don't know if you guys saw Ibla's team, but it was like, dude, you kind of ruined this for everybody just a little bit. Not really, but it's kind of like, so it was advanced traits or less. And so he basically, that's not a good example. Let's see here.
Did he already tear off the equipment on those guys, it looks like?
He must have, yeah. Explosion, double leadership, and then this guy, double hardened shield, double leadership, Keep them around though, Ibla. Don't just burn them. There'll be more level 10 things for you to win. So don't just burn them. Obama's, I almost said it, dude. Swag's team is a pretty good team. Like, I feel like I could have beaten him, but I think I maybe made a bad choice. I chose to, instead of killing his archer, I chose to preserve my pirate, and then he was able to preserve his archer as well. So if I had killed his pirate, I definitely would have lost. Or if I'd killed his archer, I definitely would have lost my pirate. So I don't know. Maybe that would have been a better move, since one of his dudes was a healer. It would have really hamstrung his damage. But
I don't know. A lot of excuses.
It is well. It's more just like explaining what's going on. I'm not making excuses. I'm actually saying, like, in hindsight, like, yeah, that's probably better. I guess it's saying that I made the wrong decision is an excuse. Then I'm doing excuses just left, right, and center over here. Just many excuses. Excuses are my middle name. What was dude so light earlier today in the chat was just getting so obsessed with one particular topic that I'm not going to repeat the topic exactly what the topic was, but I had Chat GPT writing some really silly stuff, and I'm not going to read it or anything. Maybe I'll read it. It doesn't matter. It's all good, but they were pretty funny. It was just all about his obsession. Yeah, Winston quickly realized that for Light, every road led back to the same subject, blank, and nothing else would do. So, that's pretty. Back to you, Bolon.
Thank you, Winston. Last call. If there's any questions y'all want to drop in chat, we can take them for just a moment. Otherwise, we will go into our wrap up. End a little bit early today. Everybody get in there and watch and or vote on the final match of this tournament, which will be Obama Stole My KFC, aka Swag, but it's one of my favorite in-game names, so I'm going to use it. Versus we don't know who yet, right, Winston? I don't think that his opponent's been determined yet.
It sure has. It's going to be Kurt. It's Kurt Hokage.
DeFi Purgatory, Kurt Hokage. So get in there and vote. Be ready to watch. It's going to be a good time. Everything is a sandwich. Also, Nick Evans is dropping just fire Taco Bell DFK collab names in chat. We got Crystal Bell Crunch Taco. We got the Sunder's Isles Salsa Verde and the Sarandale Supreme Taco. This needs to happen. But with that, we're going to launch into our wrap up. As always, Dreamer wants some Mythic Mayo, which I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
Where's Florida standing on Mayo? You guys Miracle Whip people?
No, definitely Mayo, but just, Mayo is a very boring condiment.
Don't they go with sour cream usually with Taco Bell?
Yeah, it would definitely be sour cream, not on tacos. I hope. If you put mayo on tacos, I don't want to know. Anyway, thank you all. Oh, actually, I lied. Haha. One last thing. We are going to be sunsetting the RapidR site, the talk.defykingdoms.com site, in a couple of weeks. You can still use it for the time being, but we're going to migrate everything back into Discord. It's just cleaner, to be perfectly honest, and it's just easier. So we're going to be moving things back into the AMA question channel in Discord, which obviously has been there the whole time anyway. It's also where like 95% of our questions come from now. So it's just easier to put it all back together. But I did want to give you guys a heads up. That'll be happening in a couple of weeks. I don't remember the exact date, but I'll have it for you. But in the meantime, thank you everybody who tunes in live and watches this later. I hope you all enjoy this AMA. It's about having fun. All right. That's the whole point, right? That's why we're all here. Thank you to everybody who does submit those questions on talk.defykingdoms.com or the AMA questions channel in Discord. Like I mentioned, you can still put your question on talk.defykingdoms.com for now, but we are going to be transitioning back over to the AMA questions channel in Discord. Thank you, everybody who asks questions. Thank you, everybody who listens to us come up here and have a good time and talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course, thank you to everybody on the stage, Winston and Hubert for being up here, Dreamer for being backstage and in chat while also doing family time. Greatly appreciate all of you. Looking forward to the next one. And with that, let's see. It's been a while since anybody other than Winston has had to do a sign off. So, Winston, any final thoughts? And then I'll make Hubert do the sign off.
Wow, this is great. I never get to go first. Thanks, everybody. Thank you to the tournament joiners, and thank you to Spassvogel for fighting me. And yeah, just super stoked for the future, and the new features coming up are going to be great. And there's secret stuff in the wings that's going to be really cool, and hopefully kind of game changing. It's a whole new thing for people to do. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me, Bolon. I'm stoked on just the future and how cool things are now and how far we've come. So yeah,
it will literally be game changing. Hubert, any final thoughts? And the sign off this week is yours.
Yeah, I echo what Winston says. We with having pet combat bonuses, durability, enchanting, all those getting really close to being done. There was a lot of work that went into both of those things, or all, I guess, three of those things. I kind of combined durability and enchanting in my mind, but and we have some new art assets that you're going to be able to see with some of those things. Some of the pet combat bonuses are activated abilities, so you'll get to see new animations in combat. And I hope to see a lot of people rolling their pet bonuses, seeing what they got for combat, and that should be pretty exciting for people kind of to theory craft which bonuses they like the most, which ones they want to use, like building different teams for different purposes, and all that stuff should be pretty cool. So looking forward to how that's going to shift things. And then with durability coming out as well, that's going to kind of change the dynamic, I think, on how equipment is used. And with people wanting to enchant their equipment as well, they're going to need to be farming equipment dust and whatnot as well. So there's going to be like a whole new avenue of things to do coming up pretty soon here. So I'm very excited for all of that. And looking to the future, we still have many things on our plate as far as what we want to release and whatnot. So I'm just excited to continue to work on the next thing and the next thing, and just couldn't be more bullish.
bullish.
Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.